So what is regression? The word means going backward. Isn't that a bad thing? To understand how we use that word in science, engineering, and statistics, we first need to think about how things normally work. Let's imagine that there exists some process and it produces multiple copies of a product. Now, if that's too abstract, we can easily think of examples. Perhaps an assembly line produces automobiles. Perhaps a series of measurements produces a data set. Maybe an educational technique produces student outcomes, or perhaps environment, biology together produce people. Now that process determines the product, but there's usually some randomness or error which makes it impossible to predict a particular product. However, we could, with a full understanding of the process, produce sort of a representative sample of the data. In other words, we could produce a set that looks like it came from the process. And that would be going forward in the usual causality sense, from process to product. But we're talking about regression, going backward. And it's going backward in that causality sense, from product to process. With this, we hope to learn a little bit more about the process. And there's plenty of processes that we don't know all that much about, but we really need to or want to. If you are in charge of an automobile assembly line, you might want to see where the manufacturing defects or lemons are coming from, even though you don't know where it is in the process. But maybe we could use some example data to find where those problems are. If we're talking about that series of measurements that led to a data set, you might want to know what the actual underlying relationship is so that you can make accurate assessments of the thing that you're measuring. If we're thinking about education, we might have some student outcomes and we might want to know which of our educational techniques were effective or ineffective. And if we're talking about people, then we probably want to know what environmental, genetic, or behavioral factors are leading to low birth weights and, God forbid, maternal or infant mortality. For all of these questions, what we have is examples of the product, and what we need is to learn about the process. In these cases, we need to go backward. We need to regress.